Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I'm so excited for my guest. We have been vibing, and I think you guys are going to love her. Her name is Charleen Jones, or AKA Another Jones, who is a Sacramento-based creative professional and is now an author, a speaker on exploring how hands-on play can support emotional well-being in adults. She is the author of Brick by Brick, Rebuilding Through Play with Lego Bricks, a reflective guide that blends personal story, creative practice, and gentle tools for navigating burnout, stress, and major life transitions. After experiencing her own season of burnout and engaging in intensive therapeutic work, Another Jones began using Lego bricks as a way to regulate, process, and rebuild, a practice that eventually became both a book and a growing community conversation. Her work centers on permission to slow down, to play, and heal in small, creative, and unexpected ways. So thank you, Another Jones, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Angelina. That was a great intro.
I just love the Legos. And like I was sharing before we started recording, I find that Legos are an amazing resource. And I've used them to teach when I've taught, lean manufacturing and how to do hands-on activities. They're perfect. But and even right now, we just started getting into it with helping my dad use his hands as a therapeutic way. And so how did you get into it? And just take us through your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a mom, and my kids, always had Lego around since they've, been little, right? They're two little boys, and what do you buy them? And when I was going through a period of life, I was really, in that season of being completely overwhelmed. I was in therapy, I was doing the work, but I didn't know how to process everything. And what I found myself, one day I was just, wiping down a counter, and I found a bin of Lego bricks, and I said, oh, let me put this away. And I opened it up and started sorting. And, 15 minutes turned into an hour, into 2 hours. And I was just like, oh, this is kind of fun, right? I didn't know it was a space to where my thoughts quieted down, right? Mm-hmm. And I was able to do something that I felt was completion, but really was just playing. As adults, we kind of forget to do that. And so I wanted to share my experience and wrote that in the book there.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. And I think that, it's something like just sorting things.
Mhm.
And you can do all kinds of things like decluttering and all the things are really therapeutic. But when you do Legos, you're not in a certain timeline. Like when you are like cleaning out your closet and stuff like that, you're like on a timeline and you're like rushed through, things like that because you're like spring cleaning and all the things. But when you are like just doing something that it's like a calming effect, right?
Absolutely. It was just a time to process something. It wasn't to fix anything, right? There wasn't a goal in mind, but it was something that was very, very grounding, and very satisfying, right? That clicking sound, the colors, the theme that you pick. I love botanicals and I like brickheads. So like picking the one that I'm looking forward to build and it became that my me time, right? Whether it was 10 minutes or hours getting lost in a full set, I was able to go from the scattered every day, always being on, into really just something for just me.
I think that's important. I think it's important to just I like how you said that it just helps you with the grounding and just getting, it's something with not without a goal in mind. It's just like relaxation. And I find that that's hard for us to do as time at times. And I think that it's really when you can find that thing that works for you, like do it. Like don't just be like scared that people are going to like what people are going to think and all those things. Like you need to just take those thoughts out, that negative judgment. And I love your flowers in the background. So kind of like, what is your favorite build that you've ever built?
Well, I think my favorite one was probably my first set, and it came from my son. And I wrote about it in the book. It was the sunflower set. And what I thought that, it was just him and my husband just sitting together and building another set. It was actually for me. And so when he was done with it, he came over with the biggest smile and, hey, mom, this is for you. And at that moment, I, felt all the love and the time and the choice that he made to do it for me, right? So it was the choice of, oh, that's it. I think mom would like it. Oh, taking the time and actually making it. So every time I see that set, I remember that moment and that just, it could be more than just a toy.
Mhm.
It could be love, it could be time, and it could be just, a representation of, just life. There's so many,
Mhm.
themes and sets that are available, right? If you're into Star Wars or into, Stranger Things, they're just getting into. So there's any type of interest that you're into, you can kind of get into the Lego world. And they're a really friendly community. Where else in the world can you go to a store and just, or see a big, bright yellow bag and be like, "Ooh, what'd you buy?" Because, if you're in a grocery store and someone buys avocados, you can be like, "Oh, I like avocados." Like, they're going to be, look at you kind of strange. So, AFOL, that community, it ties that community together, whether you're just getting into the journey or if you've, building for a very long time. And
Mhm.
I'm just new to this Lego life. My son's built, like I said, from a small age, and I like to say I inherited their sets. I couldn't let it go. And so, that's how I started sorting. And then I said, oh, these are fun. I put all the minifigures together, and then I started getting my own sets. And yeah, it was very soothing, and it just became my therapy, really.
I just had to ask you. So there's like Lego when you buy your Legos, do you usually just go to the Lego stores or do you go to like the Walmart, Target and all those other places too? Or do you specifically go to the Lego stores?
I'll go to the Lego store. Right near me is like one of those Lego resellers, and they're literally
Mhm.
in a walking distance. So I'll go over there and we'll buddy up and play together. But yeah, I don't discriminate on where to get Legos from. Just, whatever you gravitate for. Target, Walmart, all those places have great sales. And sometimes, Lego will always just have that one price unless you
Mhm.
can, but online you can find really good deals on lego.com. They have gifts with purchases. So you can really get it anywhere. And now they've got the other set, I think they're called the Lumi bricks, that are kind of like Lego, but they're at a lower price point, but they're doing the same thing, right? They're reminding people that you can play. They're tapping into that adult market, right?
Mhm.
We forget how to play. And I think it's funny, it doesn't say 18 plus on the box to make us feel. It's to look cool, right?
Yeah.
It's an invitation to just say, hey, come play, come hang out, come find out what this can do for you.
Yeah, like when my kids were little, the Legos, like my son's room always had Legos, and I would dislike when I would step on that in the middle of the night or something because he had all the little tiny ones.
but then, like, as we were talking before we started recording, like, he is older now in his 20s, and he still has Legos and he still buys them. And now he's more into like the Fast and Furious and things like that, but loves Lego. Like, we used to take, like, when we went to Legoland when they were little, it was so much fun to do all the trips and just engage and see the whole towns built just out of Legos. And I love going to, like, even in the airports, some of the airports have Lego stores, and I will go walk through and look at the different sets that are built. And I think that they're very interesting. I love what can be created with Legos. And also just the whole fact, like you said, like, the when your son got you the sunflower set, when my dad, he was ill, has been dealing with some illnesses and stuff, and he had a bird for 25 years. His name was Bubba, and he had since passed, and that was one of his first sets that he just recently got, was the bird to build like Bubba.
Oh,
You know.
that's amazing. Yeah, and then people build for all kinds of reasons, and so every time he'll see that set, he'll be like, "Oh, Bubba," and a remembrance, right? Or
Mhm,
whatever other builds. There's something healing about them, but you don't have to have these elaborate sets. You can really just take any bricks, right?
mhm,
What we're doing right now is I'm working with the library on a workshop, so where we can have people come in and just play with bricks in the library. So it's nice to just, you don't have to have these big
mhm,
fancy, $400, $500 sets. You can just really start with, something that your eyes gravitate to, or, you reuse the kids' bricks like I did. Like,
mhm,
somebody, somewhere in your house, somebody has, if you've had a kid around, there's a set around laying around somewhere.
mhm. And what I think I love about that is this is the opportunities, or the creations, endless, right? It's whatever your mind can create. I remember when we were little, we didn't really have like the sets, and we would just build like towers or color coding. Like, how many could is the white going to make the bigger tower, stacking up the 4x4, all the way up, or is it going to be the red or the yellow? And we'd have kind of like competitions to see who could make the biggest tower, and we'd all be assigned a color. So those are just little games like that that we would play as children. And as I told you, like, even as, an adult, I've trained over 600 people in process improvement using Legos, like sorting through. And it was like putting, like, we would do little assembly lines and processes like that. Like, first you just do a red brick, a yellow brick, and then, just different things. And it just taught you how to different techniques that you could use, and it was hands-on instead of using an actual machine or equipment. It was to get people out of the off the production floor into a classroom setting, but not just be sitting there being bored. It was just teach a concept, utilize the Legos to practice that concept, and then kept and then build upon that. And that's how we did it. I think it was really fun. I love teaching those type of things.
That's there's something that's your character says about the way you sort things. So I'm very interested that you did that in a working atmosphere, because with working personalities, you never know who you're working with or what they're carrying on the other end of outside of those 8 hours that they're with you. So there's some kind of something you're connecting with them. So were you able to see patterns in people, like on the way that they were sorting or the way that they were interacting with bricks, or like, what type of feedback did you get in your experience?
Well, some people sorted by the shape
Uh-huh.
and had all of them in certain shapes. Some people sorted through colors,
Okay.
and some like the scrambled mess.
That's amazing, because that's I have a whole page on that on the book. It's just like, and it tells you like what your sorting style says about you, right? Like, so maybe if if you sort by shape, you're looking for function and purpose, right? If you're sorting by like shape and sorting is hard to say together, right? If you're sorting by color, you're looking for harmony, you're looking for peace. There's over sorters, right? So they sort by color and then by piece, and then piece by color, and then by whatever set. Those are people that are looking for control in their environments. And then there's no sorter that are like my child. It's chaos. It's everywhere, right? I'll use it however and whenever I need. Um, and it's funny, their personalities kind of come out in that type of thing. So it's fascinating that you're doing that practice and you're using that in real life. So I'm glad to see that other people are using Lego in that way, besides the traditional, for kids, right? It's not just for kids.
Right, right. I think it's I'm actually really fascinated about your book. So can you talk to us? I mean, you just shared a little bit about your book, but can you kind of go into more like what the book is about and who it's for?
Yeah, sure. So this is a book, Brick by Brick. I'd like to say it's like a kind of a memoir, kind of a mindful guide to help you when you're going through those seasons in life. There's practices to calm your mind and steady your emotions. I've got coloring activities, different type of resources to reflect your thoughts. It's really meant to be it's Lego was really my therapy, and I wanted to people to understand that how I used it as a the metaphors. You learn all these big words in therapy, right?
Hmm.
And this was a way to kind of simplify it. I didn't know I was doing this until I put it into words, right? Like, unlike planning for like work and for parenting and all these things, Legos was really low stakes, and so no matter what else I put into it, I could really process whatever I was going through. And at that time, I was really overwhelmed, as a lot of us are, with so many different things. And it let me get, nerdy and cozy in a real cool way.
I love that. I love that. Since you have started, working with the Legos and using them, and it helped you through a time of burnout, have you ever had the burnout again since then? I mean, I know we all have different seasons and it can come and go, but like how has it made a practice for you so that you haven't had to experience burnout
That's a
again?
great question. And that's like the relapse, right? Like, you go through therapy, you do all these things. It's making sure you have those practices, making sure you have a plan. So, like, you have those steady things in your life, right? You make sure you eat, you exercise, you take your medications and things. But when things are, get thrown to you, what do you do? Do you panic, or do you have a plan and action for what you can do, right? Therapy told me to learn with coping, with breathing and exercising and those things. But okay, I did that. Now what do I do? Do I go and just start doom scrolling and pick up the phone or watch really bad TV? I can do that. But what can I do that's productive? What's going to get my endorphins going? What's going to get the dopamine going? Get my thoughts and, my fingers and everything in motion. And Lego did that all for me at a time when I really needed it. And so it it kind of forced me to be like, okay, I'm feeling kind of weird. I'm just gonna go to the bricks. I don't know how long. I may be here for a couple hours. I may just be here for 5 minutes. I do a thing where I call it a little grief garden that I keep on my desk, and I'll just grab a little floral piece and put it on here and just be like, okay, this is this emotion for the day. I'm gonna put it here and leave it here today. That I'm just gonna let it sit there. Um, I'm no, not perfect in any means. I do have times where I'm feeling a little, down on myself, but it's, I remind myself, okay, I did the work. I'm seeing the progress. And if I can, I don't want to go back to where I was. How do I just keep going? And I literally, brick by brick, day by day, step by step, being kind to myself, knowing that, all this stuff is happening, I could still find satisfaction in the smallest, tiniest thing in the world, right?
Mhm.
Especially when life's so heavy.
Mhm. I like how you put that because it's something simple and easy, and we're gonna always have our ups and downs, ebbs and flows, and life is always going to be lifing us. And to have, I loved how you said that you could be doom scrolling or watching bad TV or doing all these other things, but this is something that makes you feel productive, and I think that that's so important. I have loved ones who take on hobbies like remote control cars, building rebuilding remote control cars or taking them out, and it's a healthy habit, and people may look at like their toys, and they can look at Legos like their toys, but these are things that can be used for therapy. And I think that when people got to understand, like, it could be a certain, nobody, if you judge somebody for playing what they call toys, but you're not judging somebody who's going to go run to the bottle or to the
Mhm.
alcohol or to other habits that cannot be conducive or productive, then really think about it that way. This is another means of therapy, and a safe therapy that's not going to hurt or harm anybody. And I think that that's so important. And I loved how you said, even the doom scrolling. But doom scrolling can lead to bad things, and even, TV and all the other things. And so this is a healthy way that you can do something, be productive, and work your way through the things that are going on in life.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of you can jump on the bricks, right? If things aren't going together, you can build things that process your emotions. Like they've got the little minifigures. You can make a little scene and make that minifigure say what you couldn't say, right? Because sometimes we don't have that language to say what we're feeling, but sometimes it comes out in our art. So it doesn't have to be Lego. It could be really any type of hobby. Just kind of stop and slow down and go play. Go, like you were saying when you were kids, you didn't have to have these big fancy sets. You guys made up your own games. Just, we forget to do that because we're so overwhelmed all the time. We're in decision fatigue, right? There's always a decision for something, but as women, as I know I do, as moms, just we're the last on that list. And this Lego helped me slow down and put myself on the list, a little higher than I did before.
Mhm. I think that that's important. And there's one of the things that I like to do is just color. Like I
Oh,
have
yeah.
adult coloring books, and I love to color. And I even like went and got like some better crowns, and I'm like, I want better crowns, and got this whole set. And I'm like, this is better. This is easy. It has a travel case, so I can take it with me when I'm like going to be out of town or something. And it's just to calm myself down, and it's like something easy, very easy to do.
The repetitive motion, we got to keep our fingers busy. People are makers, and when you stop from making things or creating things, we kind of, what do you sub your mind with? What are you filling your thoughts with? And if you don't, and you're able to keep your thoughts and happy, I wasn't able to, right? I was just overwhelmed. I was in creative decision fatigue. So, like working as a producer, you're just always on, and then once that project's done, you're on to the next one, and then you're on to the next one, and thinking, all right, what's the forecast for next year? And you're just always after idea after idea. But when I sat down with the set, the idea was made, right?
Mhm.
It's done. And so if I wanted to put the time and I put one together, I could stop there and come back to it later. It would still be in the same place, right? So if I wanted to pick it up and go through it from A to Z, I could. But if I just want to do it one or two pieces at a time, I could. And it would still look, if I followed the instructions, it would look the same way. Or I could make it, creatively my own. And sometimes life won't let you do that, right? You've got, a boss telling you what you got to do, or a team that you're responsible for. And nope, this was just me. I forgot this piece. I put this piece and then I changed it to yellow instead of black,
Mhm.
That's my little piece in there to make it my own, right?
Yeah, to make it unique to what you're feeling, or just how
Yeah.
you want it to be, how you want it to look, using your own creativity.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll spend a bunch of hours in this little corner of my, of my home because it makes me feel good. I look around and I see things that I've created with my hands, things my kids created with their hands. And so as a creative, I need to I have that type of fuel around me, right? I've got to
Mhm.
have things that, just make me smile. And in a time when wasn't smiling myself, this gave me that space to do that.
How long how long ago did you start, when as you were going through therapy, how long did it take you to start getting into the Legos, and how long are the bricks, and how long have you been using them to help you get through things?
It's a great question. And see, I was every day, I was intensive. It's called IOP, intensive outpatient therapy, or program. And it's, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week with yourself. You're sharing stories. And I didn't know what to do when I came home from therapy. So it started right in that time. And um, yeah, I had to have something because I would, learn something in therapy, but then I didn't want to come home and put that on my family or my husband or anything else. But there was real emotional stuff that was happening. So what do you do with that? And that's when I could go and, stress clean, or, like I was saying, doing the other things, but it wasn't a soft place for me to land.
Mhm.
And so the Legos, everyone knew I was focused. They would let me be. And so it happened in real time. I wrote the book in real time. So there's no perfection in it, right? I saw that it was something that helped me. And then I wanted to share that with, right away. If I could help one person, that's enough for me.
I love that. I think that's so important. I love that you did it like right away. And the fact that you even thought to write a book while you were going through it and you're writing all that stuff, I think that that's amazing. And like what a gift you've been giving, you're giving to the world, you know?
Well, thank you. I don't think of it as that because it's like weird, right? It's imposter syndrome, right? As a creative, I couldn't make anything on my own, right? I was always judging myself, or, if I do a painting or something, I always think someone else is a better painter or a better creator than myself. This was even field for me, right? If you do the flower and I do the flower, it may take you 10 minutes, it may take me an hour. We still have the same result because we went on the journey of picking this set out, and life kind of works like that, right? I didn't want it just distractions all the time,
Mhm.
and life is full of those distractions, and this really felt like tactical, what's the word, tactical, like accomplishment, right? And sometimes yeah, it shows up in the weirdest ways.
And since you've curated the book, you know, you launched the book and then now you share about it in social media and like tell us how all that became about.
Well, it was like, just like how I was going through all this, it was organic. I work in media and entertainment, so that was part of the instillment in me. So I still needed to practice what I did as a day job, but I didn't know how to do that um, without that big branding campaign behind it, right? How do I do this by myself? And it's, believing in yourself, saying, hey, there's a mission out there. There's other people that are out there like this. So once I started sharing it online, I found other people. And then they started realizing, oh, I'm doing this too. Um, and, now I've got friends in places that I don't even know. And they're some of my biggest supporters. And I don't even know these people. But, they're encouraging me every day. They're showing up in this, in small little places. And we're building community. Um, without having to be in the same room, right?
Mhm.
Um, and that's tough. A lot of people are meanies online, right? There's always this hate or there's false information. My content on TikTok is just Lego. So if you want to just zone out and talk about Lego, kindness, and just, ways to help yourself, come on that platform and you'll find your community on there. But yeah, you can go find all these weird things to follow. Um, but if you really, just create it, you can find the people, even if it's small, that do the same thing or, at least introduce it to a different, array of people.
And can you talk a little bit more about those workshops that you're going to be
Oh,
doing
yeah.
for Sacramento?
Absolutely. So I wrote this book back in October of last year, and I really thought about like how could people do this. I didn't realize I was doing it, so I thought, okay, how many other people are out there creatively burned out, or going through something and not have a tactile thing to do. So I approached my local library here in Sacramento, and they love to collab. So we're going to have some workshops that gear towards burnout, just creative wellness, to come take an hour outside of yourself and just come and build and, see what happens. So it'll be this summer in Sacramento. There'll be more details on that soon, but it's exciting to, collaborate with my city and see something at a, such a bigger city scale to believe into the project, especially so quickly. It was an honor, and I'm very thankful and grateful for, these types of opportunity. And yeah, I don't know where this is going to show up next, but it's, if it, like I said, if it's just helping one person, I'm happy. And yeah, that we're able to do this in the summer here in Sacramento. I'm yeah, I'm excited. I've got no words, and I've got to have a full script. So I'm trying to wrap my head around, you know, quitting my day job to really literally go and play with Lego bricks all day, right? I've had a 20-year career, and although I'm not in that corporate environment anymore, everything and everyone that I've learned from is showing up in the work that I'm doing now, right? Like all of being able to illustrate, being able to write, being able to lay out a book and publish it and this is all done by myself and market it by myself. But this is over all of the type of hats I wore over my creative career. And for the first time, I'm putting myself as the project. And it's scary. It's a little, uneasy, but I think it's, the next phase of, what this Jones is going to do.
I think that that is so amazing because I think, and I was just talking to somebody else about this earlier on another call, is that there are things that we do and we go through the motions and we go through day to day, and then our life is just, we're just lifing, and time is precious, right? Every day is a day closer to our end. But there's a time where we've learned so many things and it's like, okay, God, what's next? And for you, it's like an opportunity to share and give back to the world in a creative way that is focused on stuff, all the things that you've learned. Like God is building you up to this, right? He to do what you've been called to do is to share with adults, and that there are ways that you can get through the burnout, get through the pain that you're going through, and all of these things that are hurting you in a creative way by using Legos.
Yeah. I mean, it shows up in the most, the unique times, right? Like you said, life is lifing. You're never going to have, it's never going to be the perfect time for anything.
Mhm.
If you were talking to me a year ago, I would have told you I was moving to Miami and taking the highest level position I was ever offered, right? That was the goal, right? And to be, completely, 360 change, and to, not even have a day job, it's very humbling for myself, because I, I don't know if I thrived in that chaos, or I learned how to thrive in that chaos. So I am learning right now to make the moves and plan my day for myself, or for what I am doing, right? Or giving myself the space to be like, okay, I did enough for today. I don't have to have a 30 item running to-do list. I can be like, okay, these are the goals, and if I get these done today, hey, I get to just hang out. I can, go pick up my son from school now and not rush to the next Zoom call, or, go back online after 8 p.m. after I've cooked dinner because I forgot to go write a creative brief. Like, I wanted to perform, and I love to do that, and to be able to do that for myself, or it's an honor, and it's strange. It's very strange for me. And I don't even know how I, work the nerve to say yes to this podcast, because like, I don't want to talk about myself. Like, that's the most weirdest thing to do. So I really appreciate your time here, Angelina, and really connecting and not making me feel like, this is just, what is this crazy woman doing with bricks all day?
No, I think it's so important. And I am a time management, like I have my day job, but I teach time management. I'm a time management coach. I help people get through the distractions, and I love that you are focusing on, instead of doing a 30 having these 30 items, and like you were like that you had to do, and while you're cooking dinner for your kids, you're like, oh, I forgot to do this and do that and do all the other things. You're not even being present, right? And so stepping away, going through the therapy that you've went through, using the Legos, you have been able to transform your life into a way that is a fulfilled life. And I think that that's so important. And that is like I said, it's like going into the assignment that God has called you to do, because so many times people want to just thrive. If I make this much money, or if I get this position, or if I get all this, and they're going and going and going, and then they're so burnt out.
Hmm.
But sometimes we have to slow down and think, is this really going to make me happy? Happiness isn't, all this money if you're so busy that you can't even spend time with your children, or you're so busy you can't spend time with your spouse, or you're so busy you can't even spend time with yourself, because that's like one of the first things I always tell people: when you're scheduling your calendar, you got to schedule your self-care for you. Like, what are you going to do for you? When are you going to eat? When are you going to exercise? When are you going to move your body? For you would be like, when am I going to have my Lego time, right? Like, when am I going to have that time? It's
And I
important.
wasn't making it. I wasn't doing that. I was putting someone else's thoughts or things on top of my time. And then I couldn't turn my brain off. I literally could not. It was on all the time. And it made me sick to the point where
Mhm.
I was like, I have to figure out what this is. And um, at the time, I didn't have those tools, right? I didn't know coping skills. I didn't know that I was having black and white thinking and that I was not, doing the right way of processing what I was going through, right? I was just holding on to so much emotion. And learning those tools um, really helped. And therapy gets a really bad rep, but that I think saved me. I mean, I really was being unkind to my family, my husband, but they were just the punching bag on the other end because of what was happening inside, right? And I just didn't know where to put those things. So I'm very grateful for that. I found that, and I had the time to kind of heal for myself. I wasn't taught that. We're immigrants from the Fiji Islands, right? We're taught to just keep moving and keep going. And, as a woman, you take care of all the things, right? And it was just a very different transition for me. I'm not your typical, Fiji Indian girl. And, those stereotypes, all those, things, those layers of, um, things that happen in your childhood, like how do you process those?
Mhm.
And um yeah, it really was a tough time, and really honored to be able to come out of this, like, um not hard on myself or going back to that way of thinking. And who knows, in a year I may be, throwing bricks at people, but if I keep going, um, I hope that I can remind myself that life isn't that tough, and that if you can take time for yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, and I love how you said that because we are put into certain boxes and born into certain things, and things happen in our lives that we cannot control, and we're supposed to look like, or we're supposed to feel, or we're supposed to be. And you have changed that, and you are changing, and like you said, you can make one impact on one person. I want you to know that as you make an impact on one person, that person's going to make an impact on the next person, and it's going to be a trickle effect, so you are changing generations.
Well, thank you for that. That's very kind. And yeah, I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, yeah, when people give compliments or, those types of things, it's still foreign to me. And so I appreciate you and your time, and, you being so thoughtful and resonating with this. I can't wait to hear your feedback on the book here.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And so, as we wrap up, I would love to. What is the best way that people can follow you to see what you're doing, and just to would it be your Instagram, or what's the best way?
Sure, the best way is probably Instagram. That's where you'll find most of my life. I haven't really been posting lately, but I'm getting back into that rhythm. That's at and another Jones on Instagram, another Jones. And then if you want to go into the Lego talk, go into TikTok, and that's and another Jones. And you'll be able to see all Lego kind of focused content. Um, it's a small community, but we're small and mighty, and people are really kind. And yeah, it's just healing in the weirdest ways, and finding those people that do it the same way.
Well, I appreciate that, and I just want to say, even though you call it small but mighty, it's a start, right? And you have to start
Absolutely.
somewhere. And I just want to say thank you for doing that. Like, thank you for showing up to think about how the Legos are helping you, to have the courage to write a book that talks about what you've been going through, and how these transitions and all the things that people can do can help them through this. And so thank you for that. Um, and I will make sure that I have all your links on the show notes as well. So listeners, as you're listening, make sure that you check out the show notes, follow her for her links, check out her book, which I'll have a link to in the show notes as well. But as we wrap up, I always love to ask my guests this. What is one thing, an action, a word, a book, a phrase, something they can do today in order to help them refine and shine?
Well, it's going to be more than one word. We're allowed to heal in creative, weird ways. Um, whatever floats your boat, just go do it. It doesn't matter that someone else is saying. If it makes you happy, go for it.
So give themselves permission to
Mhm.
heal and using any modality possible, right?
Absolutely. You said it better than I could.
No, I think I love the way you said it too. I think it's important because a lot of times people think that they have to wait and ask for permission. We're all one decision away, and just have to decide enough's enough, and we're okay to heal. Like we are gonna decide that we are gonna heal, and it just takes one action, and that action is to decide you're gonna heal. And when you heal, when you start going through the healing, you can be creative and you can use Legos. And for me, it's coloring, and you can do that, and it's gonna help.
Absolutely. Thank you for Angelina for your time and sharing your stories. What you're doing for the community is really great. People need those reminders. We do need to refine and shine and, have people that help each other on their mission. So I commend you and thank you for reaching out and being a platform for other speakers to, get out what they're doing. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind the scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.